Have you ever encountered a hurdle with launching or growing your business? Listen, there are two things that run a business, the back end and your soft skills.
Telling you right now, if these aren't in place, you'll lose clients and you'll lose money. You don't want that? Well, you're in the right place.
Hey, I'm Dana.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
We're your hosts of the Entrepreneur Encounter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes glance into our businesses, give you genuine feedback, tips and tricks, plus occasionally bring on guests that care about supporting you to grow your business organically and nurturing authentic relationships. Are you ready?
We all know the term time management, but how effective is your time management? When you think about the projects you have, the types of clients you work with, and everything that goes into planning, well, today we have a guest who's in the wedding industry. And if you know anything about the wedding industry, there is a lot of planning involved. We talk about why these soft skills are important, along with finding that sweet spot between creativity and productivity. Listen in as we share strategies to help you sharpen your skills, to help you boost your business, and to strengthen client relationships. If this conversation sparks your desire to strengthen your own soft skills, we invite you to check out our Soft Skills Studio, a space where purpose-driven entrepreneurs like you gain practical tools to lead confidently and communicate effectively. You'll find the link in the show notes to learn more and join our growing community. Now let's get to the episode.
So welcome to the podcast, Heidi. I'm super excited to chat with you about soft skills and how they can empower not just all entrepreneurs and professionals, but today we're going to talk about what that means for the wedding industry, which for anyone that listens knows that that's my soft spot. So thanks for being here. Do you want to take a few moments to kind of tell us who you are and what you do and why I'm so excited to have you as a guest?
Sure. So my name is Heidi Thompson. My business is Evolve Your Wedding Business. I work with all sorts of different wedding professionals from around the world to help them attract and book more of the clients they really love working with, to really make their marketing easy to do, because I know it's such a struggle for most wedding professionals, most creative professionals. And a big focus of mine is making sure that we build their business in a way that gives them freedom and flexibility, because burnout is way too common and it's so easy to overcommit, to feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions, to work 60, 80 hours a week. And I don't care how much money you make. If you don't have the time to actually enjoy living your life, what is the point?
Yes, exactly. Well, and then that many hours, as hard as you work is as hard as you should rest. So,
amen.
So I just feel like that's so fascinating. And I love that you stepped into this role. So as you start working with wedding professionals, whether it's a planner or whomever, how do you emphasize the importance of soft skills for those in the industry?
I think a big part of it for me in my business is partially on the time management side of things, the self-management side of things. How do I get my head right to recognize that working harder isn't the goal and working harder doesn't necessarily even get you better results? That is something we absolutely have to overcome, because that's such just cultural programming, like work harder, work more. But I can't tell you how many people I've worked with who, we get their hours down and they're making double the money. And it's like, well, this doesn't make sense. You have to get past that mindset of throwing myself at this business harder is what's going to get results. That's a big component of when we start working together, looking at what are you actually getting out of the things that you're doing? And that's something that we don't often stop to look at. We just look at our task list and we work. So the way I talk about it is you have to really be two different people in your business. You have to function as the CEO, basically the queen bee, given the orders, deciding what's going to happen, choosing where we're going. And then you have worker bee mode. And if you spend all your time in worker bee mode and you're just working and doing things to do things and doing things to feel busy, doing things to give yourself that kind of gratification and feeling like, well, I am accomplishing something. What we often find is the things you're doing are keeping you busy, but they're not actually getting you results because there's no CEO mode. There's no queen bee being like, hey, we need to do this. This is the thing we're focusing on because this is going to get us the biggest results. So a lot of people I meet are busy for the sake of being busy, for sure. And it's a mental game.
I do feel like, especially since I've been myself stepping into the CEO mindset with the shift of all my kids are on the same school schedule now, I can dedicate time to being a CEO instead of just a worker bee. You do hear work harder and work your 40, 50 hours a week, make the money, da, 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 da. But I think work harder is really, as an entrepreneur at least, be more productive. Because like you were saying, you can be busy all the time. And I felt like that's where I was. My calendar looks like a bag of Skittles exploded. And I am never without something to do. I'm always busy. So I've been shifting in the last few months of not just being busy, but being productive. So even with just repurposing my content as an example, I'm going to spend my time and effort into one really great blog post or one really good podcast episode. Then I'm going to splice and dice the heck out of it to create other things. So I don't have to create brand new content for every single platform, for every single this, that, and the other. I'm trying to be more productive with my time. And that way I have more time to be creative. And for wedding professionals, I think that's the big reason why they got in the industry is that creative focus. And that's really a soft skill that needs to be honed and like fine-tuned to create space and have the time to not only be a CEO, but to be a creative CEO to see the long-term vision. So do you ever bring that aspect into it with wedding professionals of carving out time to be productive in the sense of being creative?
Yes, I really like to encourage people to assign things to times. And a lot of people do batching, and I said, do it to whatever degree it's going to work for you. The way I have found it works best for me and my clients is not over batching. Like, I know what I'm going to do every hour of every day. Like, for me, that's going to be something that I instantly rebel against. It's not going to work. If I give myself too many rules, it's not going to work. But if I give myself like a nice parameter, like this is where I can play, this is where I can actually get things done. I really like to think about kind of what part of your brain are you using in different periods. So is it that creative creation side that you need to dedicate time to? Is it that strategic decision-making side? And I really don't like to mix things as much as possible. The most I would mix something would be like do something in the morning, do something in the afternoon. But I think we run into a lot of issues when we're like, I'm going to do creative stuff. And now I'm going to get on a call with a client. And now I'm going to try to be productive. And now I'm going to do creative stuff. And oh, yeah, I have a call in 10 minutes. Like that results in just feeling
Exhausted.
Yeah. And if you can create some division for that, even something as simple as just my client calls are on Tuesday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Friday, like whatever, allowing that to just have some boundaries and guardrails can protect some of that other time. And then you can say, Monday is the day where I'm going to be super strategic and I'm going to work more in my CEO mode. And it doesn't have to be all day Monday. If you can dedicate an hour to this, this is going to really help you. And just looking at your week and making conscious, intentional decisions about what you're doing. And that's what most of us lack are the conscious, intentional decisions. Like we just do stuff as it pops up. And when that happens, it leads us down all of these rabbit holes and we get lost in the doing of things without recognizing, is this actually something that is going to lead me toward my goal? Is this something that is worth me spending time on? And is this something that's worth me spending time on right now? Or do I have other priorities right now? And like, maybe this is a next quarter thing.
Ooh, I like that. I probably have 100 Post-its on my desktop.
I do too.
Of like, oh, here's a great idea. And to have someone not become, because I do have a hard time coming back to it. And it's just basically a pipe dream. Unless I randomly am like needing to brainstorm, then I'll go back to it. But I would like to do it more consistently. And I feel like I'm not the only one that has this struggle. So how do you integrate that development for the business strategy, if that makes sense, of do I do it now or do I do it next quarter? Like, how do you differentiate what should be done now versus what should be done maybe next quarter, maybe next year?
So part of it, to your point, is having a place. If you have a place where those things can live, even if it is on like stickies on your desktop or a notebook or a Google Doc or like ramblings in the Notes app on your phone.
All of the above.
Right. And that's fine. As long as you know where they are, like whatever, that's fine. Like we don't have to be perfect about this in order to get results. Something that I teach is a 90-day planning process. And then one of my clients, so she created this 90-day plan for herself. And then we were going over it and was like, this is like a year of stuff. Like you are overloading yourself. She's like, yep, that explains why I feel so overwhelmed all the time. So if we look at the order of things that it makes sense, there are some things that make sense to do first. So if you know that you want to build up referrals and you know that referrals are an excellent source of clients for you, it makes sense to prioritize that. Now, do you want to get better at Instagram Reels? Sure. Okay. But maybe that's not a right now result kind of thing. Maybe that's something that we break down and you do little bits of it over the next 90 days. And the way I try to kind of constrain this is you want to choose 3 to maybe 5, depending on how much time you have, goals or focus areas that you want to accomplish. So it could be, I want to get 10 more clients from referrals this year. That's a focus area. We can break down steps to take for that in the next 30, 60, and 90 days. I want to get found on Google more, so I want to work on my SEO. Cool. We can break down steps for that. At a certain point, if you get too many of those things, you want to make sure you have a balance between long-term and short-term. Relationships are usually the fastest path to business. So I always say, prioritize relationships, prioritize networking, referral relationships. They're usually your fastest path. Most people think it's social. Social is more of a longer-term strategy. So you want to make sure that you have some short-term on there. Maybe it's you're doing, like in the wedding industry, we have wedding shows where couples come and they meet vendors. Maybe you are running ads. Like there's lots of things you could do, but making sure there's a balance between long-term and short-term. Because if everything you're doing is long-term, like I want to work on my SEO, I want to get featured and get like PR in these places, I want to build my Instagram account up to a certain point. Those things don't deliver quick inquiries. We want to make sure there's enough of a balance there. It's different for everyone. There's no like magic set of things you need to do, but you just want to be aware of like, am I kind of like kicking the can of me being able to get a booking further down the road by focusing on this? Or am I doing things that are going to get me bookings this month and things that are going to get me bookings in 6 months, in a year?
I like the balance of that, where it's, I need a booking now. I think that's the visionary part of being the CEO is you need to do something for now, but you also need to be at the same flip side doing something for yourself 6 months from now, 10 months from now, next engagement season. Like, you don't want to wait until engagement season to start putting yourself out there. That is something you do 3 months in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, if you want, a year from now to get half of your leads from Google, then there's steps we need to take to start building up your SEO now so you can get there. But there has to be the balance. And then once my clients decide on what they're going to do, we break it down into 30, 60, 90 days, what needs to get done by each point and what's realistic. Maybe the next 30 days you're swamped. So getting one thing done for each of your goals is progress for you. That's fine. And then having a place where you can, what one of my clients call her pile up zone. So like all the ideas, all the things she wants to do, they go somewhere. And then she has an appointment with herself.
Ooh.
And I think she was doing it on a monthly basis, just like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just to look over what was in there and choose one thing that she wanted to take action on. And then I'm going to come back to the rest later.
I like that.
Hey there, listeners. Ever feel like you're struggling to connect with customers or lead your team effectively? That's where soft skills come in.
Entrepreneur Encounter isn't just another podcast. We're a community dedicated to helping early stage entrepreneurs like you master the soft skills that make or break a business.
Technical skills are important, but without communication, collaboration, and confidence, your business might never get off the ground to the next level.
In our membership, Dana and I share actionable insights and tips to help you nurture the soft skills you need to thrive.
Give you access to bonus content, workshops, and a network of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all on the same journey.
We'll teach you how to boost your confidence,
Become a leader who inspires and motivates your team,
navigate conflict like a pro,
to resolve disagreements without drama and build stronger relationships.
communicate clearly and concisely, get your message across, build trust, and close the deal.
If you're ready to take your business to the next level, join the circle by clicking the link in the show notes.
So I was recently watching a YouTube video from Ashlyn Wright. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. But she had really great insights on adaptability, but really planning out her months and quarters. I mean, she, by all intents and purposes, is a super successful person. And she's done the hard parts of what can I do? What can I not do? What can I manage? And she was like, I can only produce one thing per month, and I can only promote one thing per month. And I feel like, I don't know, that hit hard because I'm like your client where I'm going to do 500 things and I'm trying to do 4 lead magnets at one time, build the funnel pages, market my other stuff, do this podcast. And I'm like, no wonder I feel like my laptop is attached to me 24/7. So really this year has been like, I'm slowing down. And, after a few weeks in January, your goals and your resolutions or whatever start to dwindle. And so that was the boost that I needed to all right, we're staying focused and we're adapting our strategies. So I mapped out the whole year of something I can promote each month and something I can produce. But the production I love how she pointed out, and I think this is beneficial and it flows with the conversation, is you're not just producing a guide. So I'm going to take 1 month to take my time to create this lead magnet. The next month, now that it's created, I need to produce the landing page, the marketing content, the funnel, if there is one, or anything else that goes along with it. That is producing something, even though it's not completely tangible, like the guide that I'll be giving away. But you got to have a way to transport it and to follow up and to nurture those relationships and hop on calls to talk about it or whatever else it is that you're doing. And then the next month, produce something else. And I like
Yeah.
that.
And the way I like to think about it is we can make intentional decisions about what we're doing. And I think about it in terms of a row of dominoes. And you want to make sure the things you're doing are knocking down not just one, not just a little guy, but like the biggest possible domino you can knock over to create like the most force possible to carry that through the line of dominoes. And sometimes the thing you need to do, it doesn't feel huge. It doesn't feel like enough even, because it could just be, and I've had clients do this all the time, like, hey, you know that planner that sometimes sends you business? I want you to reach out to her, check in with her, propose some ideas to do a collaboration. And then all of a sudden this person gets clients from just because they popped back up top of mind, came up with an idea to collaborate. And it's like, it doesn't feel like that 10 minutes spent on an email is the biggest domino, but it is in this situation. It's the one that gets the biggest results. And I think we want to be in front of our laptops and doing our stuff and playing in Canva and like making things. And I think, of course, there's time and place for that, but is that the biggest domino you can knock over right now?
Something that I recommend to entrepreneurs when I chat with them is to focus on that. Like, you can spend time creating this amazing something in Canva, but if you don't go out and take the time to talk to people, even though it feels like it's taking you away from your business.
Yeah. And you have to fight that feeling.
No one's going to know about it. No one's going to see it. No one can get to know you and your passion and why they should work with you specifically over someone else that's doing something similar. Like you said, it doesn't feel big, but that coffee chat, that check-in email could be just the grain of sand that you needed to knock over the sandcastle, to really open up doors. I love that.
Yeah. And you have to fight that in your brain and really make choices about what you're doing from a position of like, what gets me results? I'm going to do more of those things, even if they don't feel monumental. I'm not scrapping my website and recreating it. The goal isn't to keep you busy. The goal is to get you results. And then recognizing that all of these dominoes we want to knock over have a place. Even just this week, like I'm hosting a summit next week as we're recording this. I have a bunch of summit stuff going on. I'm not like crazy busy with it because I've been working on it for months. But earlier this week, I was thinking about like these webinars I want to do next month. And I had to be like, that's next month. This is this month.
Next month.
We have an appointment with ourselves to talk about that.
Oh,
and then we'll talk about that. But right now, need you to focus on the most important thing at hand.
I love that. Before we lead to wrapping up, do you have a success story where focusing on those soft skills made a significant difference, whether it's in your business or with a client?
With so many of my clients, the thing that was missing for them is intention and conscious choice. And I think those are soft skills that are so important for entrepreneurs. It all works. We can do anything. We can do everything. Like, there's so many options, so many ways to spend your time. But that discernment of what is going to make a difference for me in my unique position, that is where I see a huge shift for people. So sometimes that is like, I had an officiant I worked with who the thing she really needed to focus on was messaging and setting herself apart in her marketing. Once she did that, she was able to raise her prices like, I want to say like 4 or 5 different times and still be sought out because she was no longer competing with anybody and everybody that can marry you. People were spending more money with her because they were open to other ways to work with her. Like, she had marriage counseling and things that were part of it that she could upsell them to. And she got down to working 25 hours a week because she was only doing the things that made the difference for her. And that wasn't spending all day on Instagram. For her, it was largely improving her messaging across her website and her marketing, relationships with venues, making decisions around that. Like, what is the strategy for that? She did an amazing job of featuring them on her blog, which is a great SEO play as well. And now all of these other things are kind of just optional, whether she's going to post in Facebook groups or she's going to post on Instagram once a week or 3 times a week or whatever it is. If she's going to start making TikTok videos, it's all gravy at that point because she found the things that were going to be the biggest impact for her.
I love that it sounds like she's very attuned into herself, but also her clients' needs of seeing that like upsell opportunity that honestly, I don't even think I would have considered. That's amazing. I love that.
And that's the thing. And I get why people think this. They think there's like some sort of magic marketing plan that's going to fix things. And I wish that was the case, but it is
for real.
It is so individual. It is so unique to you. And I mean, I have clients that go hard on social media and get tons of business. I have clients who are pretty much just showing up to show that they're still in business on social media. It can really run the gamut. And that thing of like everything works, you just have to look at what works for you and then make conscious decisions about what makes sense for me to do more of. Because if I put an hour of work into Instagram, and I'm not getting anything from Instagram right now, probably not going to get results. But if I'm going to put an hour of work into relationship building with venues and other vendors, and I know that works well for me, you're probably going to get a lot more out of that hour. So it's really maximizing your time, not just to do more, but to do more of the things that do the heavy lifting in your business.
I like that. I heard somewhere, and I couldn't tell you where. So if whoever is listening can quote it, tell me, and we'll update our show notes. But somewhere on the interwebs, I heard all the marketing strategies work. You just have to find the one that aligns with you and your unique position in life and adapt to when it needs to change. Because when I launched my business in 2020, my life looks completely different than what it looks like right now.
It has to work for you as well. So if the strategy you're choosing is like at odds with the life that you want to have, something's got to give.
Yeah. I think also figuring out a strategy that, like we were talking about earlier, like it works now in this season of life, but it can also help you build towards the life you want to have 10 months, 12 months from now, and so forth, and obviously adapt along the way.
Yeah.
I love all of this. This has been extremely inspiring, and I love connecting with wedding vendors of any walk of life. I think you're our first wedding pro, and I cannot wait to have more. But where can our listeners, especially if they're like dipping their toes in the industry or are considering it, or maybe they just feel stuck, where can they go to connect with you?
The best place to find me is my website, evolveyourweddingbusiness.com. You can find out all about me, how to work with me, my podcast on there, which Dana has been a guest of and was a phenomenal guest. The most active place I am in terms of social is Instagram. So if you just want to chat, want to have a conversation, I welcome that. Shoot me a DM. I'm Evolve Your Wedding Business over on Instagram.
Perfect. Thank you. And as you next month get to working on your own webinars and stuff, feel free to let us know and we can update our show notes as you get them done.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Until next time. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Remember, soft skills aren't just some fluffy buzzwords that get thrown around in the corporate world. They're the key to unlocking your full potential as a professional and a human being. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself and seek out opportunities to improve your soft skills. Sarah and I have a variety of workshops, online courses, and complimentary clarity calls for you to practice in real time with us. Links are always in the show notes. And be sure to join us next time for more insights, tips, and tricks to help you succeed in your entrepreneur encounter.